My name is Michael Hargrove, 12 Alice Street here in the city. I got a copy of the ordinance for the Stormwater Fund as of the 14th of September, just for a little history from my standpoint. I know Commissioner Treat had tried to get something going down at McCray Auditorium at the end of June as far as a public hearing. I understand on the 19th of August that we had a public hearing online here in this chambers, which I got a little late to, so I couldn't ask any questions. So I've had an interest because this has slipped up on me as of the last meeting where apparently the City Commission had a first reading of this ordinance. So I made a copy of it. And I just wanted to go through some of the highlights of it as far as the ordinance itself. It's about 19 pages. Once I read it, I asked online a couple of questions of the city of Waycross. For instance, the Stormwater Management Program Assessment and Final Analysis performed by the city's consultant. I asked the question online if I could see a copy of it. I've never heard back, and that's been over a week. I asked a couple more questions on that same page about information that was discussed in the 19th of August presentation here at the council chambers. So it would help for the city to put stuff like that up online so people can be more informed and know what's going on instead of being surprised. I've read a couple of other things here. For instance, in section 105.57, customers of the stormwater utility shall include all persons, properties, and entities. That's part of the ordinance that wasn't read, including transportation. It's rather lengthy. I'm not going to do the whole thing, but just a couple of highlights. There's a lot of what appears to me to be subjective information here in this ordinance, like in one of the sections it says on item 6, other services as deemed appropriate by the city. It's kind of a nebulous description for an actual ordinance to be followed and made into law. Stormwater utility manager means a person appointed by the city manager to administer the provisions of the article. There's been no mention of the hierarchy of management other than the manager gets to appoint somebody. So that seems to be a question in my mind about, who will be in charge of this thing. I understand the city commission will adjust fees from time to time. Instead of a person that was involved in the management of the Stormwater Fund itself. All improved and developed properties within the defined area will receive a user fee. And then it gets to exemptions. The exemptions for the stormwater user fee are as follows. And it has item 2, linear railroad right-of-ways, tracks and rail beds and whatnot. Does this mean that the railroad has its own stormwater runoff management plan and that it takes it all away from the city's property without the city's need to be involved? Is that what it means? So that's why they're exempted. City of Waycross, all their property is exempted. The rights-of-way for the county, Georgia Dot. We got some exemptions that adds up to many acres of property that contribute to stormwater runoff. And I'm wondering why they were exempted. I had a chance to review the city's stormwater credit manual that was passed out last night in the work session. It looks like the major or the most exemption you can get at this point is 10%. I had a conversation with somebody from a church this morning that their utility bill, their fund bill, is going to be around $4,000. And with the procedures outlined in this ordinance here, it seems like you have to jump through a lot of hoops to get any kind of credit to start with, and it's only going to be worth 10% at max anyway. So I would be a little concerned at that if I were a business owner here in town. The frequency of the billing, once again, the city commission. I'm not gonna do any more here. There's plenty, except for the last item here. It says the first read was on the 7th of September. I'm assuming it was supposed to be here at the council commission chambers. But all I heard and all I saw, and I went back and looked at the tape, Miss Agar just read the header. She didn't read the ordinance. And I would have to, I'd have to get with your city attorney, but according to the Georgia Municipal Association website and their handbook, the first reading is supposed to be the draft ordinance, which is read aloud at the council meeting. So the first reading is not just reading the title and forget about the other 18 pages, it's reading the ordinance. And like I say, it's something the city might want to look into as far as their process before voting on something like this, because this affects everybody in town, and it's quite a substantial amount of money involved. Now, let me back up here for a second and say, I certainly understand.
Our time has expired, but I thank you for.
And I certainly understand the need for something like this, but I think you guys could maybe take another look at the process you've used to get here.
Thank you, Mr. Hargrove.
All right, thank you.
Any further conversation?